Heba Thorisdottir, you were head of the makeup department on The Hateful Eight. Tell us how you took 8 recognizable movie stars and turned them into a ragged band of thieves and murderers.
It wasn't always easy, but Quentin has very specific vision how he wants actors to look. Some of it is very within the period, and then sometimes he's like doesn't care. He just wants it a certain way. It doesn't matter what period it is. That's just how he wants it to look. It wasn't so much on this one as it has been in the past. I think they were all pretty much within the period,
Mm-hmm.
and we just made their skin look exposed and reddish and dirty. We figured they wouldn't really shower a lot, but they also had snow, so it's kind of like you can wash your hands, but they're not really scrubbing, so it was more like dirt that we kind of pressed into their skin, looking like they had sort of washed it, but not really well.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that hair, I loved all of the elaborate beards for each of these guys, and I'm sure there was a lot of collaboration between you and the hair department. Hair department, is that right? Hairstylist. So can you talk a bit more about that? Just designing these different guys.
Yeah, I was actually on another film when they started prepping the movie, so I was in a very close touch with Camille Friend, who was the department head hair, and she would go to the meetings and take notes of what Quentin said and whatnot. And also when, like Kurt Russell's Walrus mustache is very much written into the script. So, they had all grown out their beards and stuff. So we would trim it and style it sort of thing. But they had all grew their own hair and beards and facial hair out. So we just kind of kept it up, and it was kind of challenging to have to, keep it up for 5 months, exactly the same length, everything exactly the same, as it all happens in one day, but shoots over 5 months. So that was kind of the greatest challenge in keeping them looking gritty and such.
We'll talk about some of the tricks of the trade that you use in order to do that, some of the more technical aspects that our readers love to hear about.
So we had to do a lot of research on kind of products, like what could withstand the freezing temperatures and such, and we had to have insulated bags on set, or all our set bags were insulated for the makeup, and we mainly started using Skin Illustrator, which is alcohol paint. You loosen it, it's very concentrated, and you loosen up with alcohol, and so it can withstand the temperature. It doesn't look heavy at all, and that worked really well. And we just made them looking ruddy, and put a little dirt on top of that, and it wasn't too much of a maintenance. We were also really concerned about that we couldn't always get to the actors. The challenging thing was to keep the teeth, because they weren't all like blacked out teeth, but they just, even if they had a little wash of something, so they're not like bright white. And that was really hard to keep on, because they were constantly drinking hot tea or coffee or soup or something warm to keep them warm, and they were eating stew one day, for days. And so that all kind of takes it out. So, and they're long takes. So that was kind of our biggest concern, to keep on.
Mm-hmm. Talk a bit more about the teeth, because I was shocked when I saw that close-up of Jennifer Jason Leigh's mouth. The chipped and broken teeth.
Yeah. K&B FX designed those and made them. And Jake Garber, who was the representative on set, and he took care of Samuel Jackson and all the effects on on Jennifer, and he you know, but it Hateful Design.kmb, and they were amazing.
Mm-hmm. You also have to, spoiler alert, there's violence in the movie. Throughout the film, there's some various wounds and bruises and blood that the characters get all over them. Can you talk about the difficulty of, you know, not only just designing that, but also, you know, movies aren't shot in sequence, so, you know, making sure that was consistent.
Right. Jake took care of, he was the on-set representative, as I said, from KMB, and he took care of all the effects on set. So I don't know, you might have to ask him exactly about that, but some of it was in sequence. Quentin tries to, just for the acting purposes, I think, to keep it a little bit, you know, in sequence, because it's just kind of the scenes, because he does long takes and such, that it kind of flows the scene better, and which works out great for us. But yes, there was a little bit of back and forth because of weather. That, you know, when the weather was nice, we were inside minis, and when the weather was blizzard, we were outside. So we had to be ready to jump into whatever look at any time. And sometimes it was split. Like sometimes it started out a blizzard and then it became nice, and then we went inside. So, you know, there was always a little bit back and forth, and you have to keep continuity books and you know exactly what's coming up.
Right, yeah. Now, you've worked with Tarantino before. I wonder if you could talk a bit more about what that collaboration is like, and you know, what he gives you as a director to help you out.
I mean, his scripts are so visual, and you know, and he will always let me know if he has seen an actor in something and he wants a particular look for it, and so then, you know, we just stick to that. Otherwise, he gives you kind of free hands, and at least not making it look very made up. There's definitely limits, and so, you know, and sometimes you really, he is a stickler for the period, and other times he's not. So, but he's just a pleasure to work with, and yeah, so he's just amazing to collaborate with, because, you know, he's an artist and he respects artistry around him, and so he kind of gives you free hands, you know, unless he will, you know, give you a guidance if there's something very, very particular that he wants.
What is it that excites you about the art and craft of makeup, you know, after all this time and all these films? You know, is it hard to still get excited, or, you know, what is it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and especially on a set with him, I love what I do anyway, but his movies are different than anything, because I think it's mainly because he doesn't allow any phones or computers or anything. You know, I'm sure we can't even wear digital watches, you know, there's anything that would beep, you know, and so he, you know, it's just become such a family, and he loves shooting. He loves being on set. There's other directors who love being in the editing room. Quentin loves the process of shooting the movie, directing the actors, setting the scene up. And it's just amazing watching him and seeing his different approach throughout the years with different actors and such. It's just amazing.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on the film.
I'm sorry, you fell out a little bit.
I said thank you so much, and congratulations on the film.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.